My name, Jeremy Jackson. I work for DEI and Associates Inc. Engineering, located in Waterloo, Ontario. So our primary industry that we deal in is education. So we do many schools. So this will be my 10th year with DEI and Associates, and over 20 years in the industry. I was with SNC Lavalin in Toronto before that. As I said, schools were a major part of our work, and we've been designing surge protection into schools, I would say, for at least the last 10 years. It's when it really started to become important. We will designate some computer panels, the old school thinking where you put specific outlets in the school where you connected PCs, or maybe in a telephone room where you had a phone system or a PA, and those were all that were protected. Now we know everything in a building such as that. You've got LED lighting, you've got addressable fire alarm system, you've got sophisticated lighting controls, you have advanced security systems, access, even CCTV systems, which then are also basically data networks. So all of these microelectronic systems in there, all subject to all of the transients that are created by the building systems, because they all have HVAC and pumps and elevators and whatnot. So they're all those power problems are constantly, cycling around, and the best way to treat it, which we're working with all of our reps from the surge protection companies, have been to do the tiered approach. So starting at the service entrance, doing the distribution, doing the mechanical distribution, doing the end user panels, and basically almost covering every load in the school these days. Some of the extremes, we get horror stories from some of the board maintenance guys. We're losing entire fire alarm systems in schools. We're losing lighting control systems or backnet, building automation systems. When you design our new school, we must have surge protection. So working with the surge protection experts at Innosys, what they did is they provided us with some guidance as to what the proper standards were, what the proper performance levels were. They provide us with guide specs. We have product samples that we can do, plus they do system analysis and that for us. We will send them a single line, we'll send them information on the available fault for a building, and they'll come back with a layout and some suggestions as to the protection levels, and then have a discussion with us to say, we would recommend this, but you as a designer, you have the final say. And I'll ask some questions. Well, do we really need this? This seems, maybe excessive in this case. No, you have this particular scenario that we've identified for you. Oh, that's good. I'm glad you noticed that. So the 30-year warranty does make a big difference. It's very much sought after by the school boards and owners that I deal with, but sometimes when finding equals, it can be a little bit of a challenge, because I don't know anyone else that has been offering that. I've had to go back to equal manufacturers and request it, and they've begrudgingly done that, but it hasn't been 30 years yet to see whether or not we'll actually be able to collect on some of those things. But we've had no questions asked on any of the failures that we have had up to this point, because it's not necessarily a reflection that the product is bad, but it is usually indicative that there may be a problem with the system installed, and that's the first thing we point out is, unless we can identify that there was some sort of event like a lightning strike, or a surge or a transient event on the electrical grid, it's probably there was something bad in the installation. If it's a brand new building, well, maybe they just weren't, they hadn't finished all their ground tests, or they haven't torqued all the lugs, or they had something, going on. So there have been no issues in the past getting units replaced under warranty, no.